welcome everybody to this episode 2 of Jayhawks Beyond the Nest. With me right now, I have on Taylor Storer. What should I say? Taylor Saxton, as she recently just got married, coming off her honeymoon up in down in North Carolina. A little warmer down there, I'm sure, than it is right now. How we have snow on the ground. But Taylor, I just want to thank you for coming on right now.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited.
You're excited. All right, awesome. That's good to hear. So, when you were in high school, um, what kind of player were you, and were you looking to move on to playing collegiate ball at that time?
Yeah, I always wanted to go to college to play basketball. I didn't really know where. I knew that throughout my sophomore and junior year, I'd kind of know by how well I was doing where I could go. But then my senior year, I realized I didn't really want to leave home. So that's why JCC was like the perfect fit. I was able to stay home with my parents and they cooked me dinner every night and that was great for me.
Definitely a cost saver, and you can't beat home cooked meals. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So, did Coach Sisson recruit you when?
No, actually Coach Martin did
Okay,
because that was the year that he became AD. So he was supposed to be my coach and then Sisson got the job as he moved up to AD.
gotcha. And a lot of people that haven't seen Coach Sisson coach before, which a lot of current student athletes, they always hear the old war stories with the old general at the helm. I just want to hear some, like, what's your favorite Coach Sisson story that you would are willing to share with us? Keeping it PG, because we all know how Coach Sisson can get a little fiery. But, what's a story that you can share with us?
Um there's a lot. But appropriate ones other than the things that he would say to the officials. I won't share all of those things. But probably our first day meeting Coach Sisson, so my best friend, we went to college together and played basketball together, Brooke Draggett. We were sitting in our first day meeting talking about preseason and whatnot, and all of the returning players were meeting him for the first time as well. Uh-oh, he's okay. Um, my returning player his returning players were meeting him. So he had known me because I grew up going to church with him and his family. So he told the returning players that he was automatically favoring me and my best friend because we were from Casadega and he was from Casadega. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You put the bullseye right on you.
Yeah, as a freshman, and we want those players to like us coming in. And he was just like, yep, they're my favorite. And we're like, great, now they hate us. So that was funny. But then we became like best friends as a team, and it was great.
That's awesome. And how was Coach Russell there with you as well?
Yep, yep.
Tell you what, Coach Russell, I don't know how he puts up with Coach Sisson after all these years, but God bless him.
Oh, I know. Sometimes I was like, oh my goodness. And I felt like, I don't know, some of the things that he would say. I wasn't really a player that would talk to the officials, or I mean, I think the worst thing I did was roll my eyes a couple times, but I would never say anything to the officials. And he was the coach that said everything to the officials. So sometimes I was like, Coach, knock it off.
Yeah, no, the things, yeah, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see him now at the basketball games. He's hanging out up on the track. He's trying to stay quiet, but can't take the coach out of him. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he's just so intense, and I think that's what I loved about him, though, that he just wanted to win so bad. He wanted us to be as great as we could be, and to the point in practice one time, I remember he got so mad. I don't know if we weren't running hard enough or we weren't running offense correctly. I'm not really sure, but he got so upset that fold down overhead door in the garage,
Yep.
he went over to it and just kicked it as hard as he could. And the next day he came into practice just limping, and we're like, I wonder why he's limping.
Right. Um, so yep, you come to Jamestown in 2012. What was your major while you were here?
Phys ed.
Phys ed. How'd you
Mhm.
like phys ed as a major?
I enjoyed it. Of course, I got to take a basketball class with Cordovano, so that was like the best. I don't. You go to college and you take a course on basketball. But now, actually, one of my teachers, I can't really remember which one it was, but we just moved into Lakewood, and I met one of my neighbors, and she's actually a previous phys ed teacher from JCC, so that was kind of neat. But I enjoyed it.
Awesome. And so then you move on. You go to play at Fredonia. How was the decision making process for you to go to stay local and to continue your basketball and academics there?
Um, so I'm just a homebody, and obviously I chose to go to JCC because it was close to home. So as I went to Fredonia, I didn't stay at home. I did get an apartment out there, but I'm pretty sure I did come home every weekend still. So that was a big piece of it. Um, it was also the assistant coach there was the previous Silver Creek coach, which I had known from playing in high school, and he was a great guy, Coach Norton. He's actually still there. So that was actually comforting too, because in college, I got to have a coach that I grew up with basically. And then, or at JCC, I got Coach Sisson that I grew up with. And then at Fredonia, I got another coach that I had known for years. So it was comforting and it felt like home at both schools. So I loved it. Even though I do wish JCC was a 4-year school.
Hey, maybe later on, maybe if Coach Sisson can get us a nice turf complex, maybe we can make that push. But so you graduated in 2017. Was that in phys ed, or did you
I
go
think it was just called individual studies because I had changed my major. I started with pharmacy. I didn't really know right out of high school what I wanted to do. And then I changed to phys ed. So with my credits and everything, I guess the smartest thing was it was like an individual studies degree.
right? Definitely. So then after post graduation, where did your with your background, where did that take you after that?
After Fredonia,
Yeah,
or
yeah, after Fredonia.
I got a job right away in the summer at Silver Creek in the middle school as a special ed teacher.
And you were there for 1 year, right?
Yep.
And then from Silver Creek, you moved back closer to home. You came to Southwestern. This is your second year there, right?
Third. So it's
Third
my
year.
fourth year teaching, so my third year. Yep.
And teaching at Southwestern, you also did some coaching. And it's not the most, or it's not coaching what other people would think because you went to coach modified boys basketball. Now, how was that experience? I mean, I don't want you more or less like a trailblazer. I feel like taking the opportunity, taking the opportunity when it was presented to yourself. How did you come about to that role as head coach for the boys modified team?
Um, well, like a lot of small schools now, they're always in need of coaches. And in my interview at Southwestern, I told them I'd start coaching right away. It's just something I wanted to do when I decided to be a teacher, it just like as a bonus to the job. Um, but I think I got the job, and then during the summer, they told me all of the openings for coaching. And as soon as I heard that a basketball job was open, I just said I'd do it.
Did it
So,
matter if it was with girls or boys? You just basketball.
no,
You was basketball.
yeah, I wanted it in my life. Uh, I know that a lot of college athletes, as soon as their last season ends in college, it's kind of changes you, and you don't really know what to do with yourself. You're so used to going to practice after class. It was very strange for me my first year teaching at Silver Creek. I didn't coach anything there, and it was I didn't know what to do like after school. It was strange to just go home and not have basketball and not be going to practice. So as soon as I came to Southwestern, it was nice to get that back into my life.
Well, I'm sure they're glad to have you, and they should be glad to have you, as this past season you became the Section 6 girls varsity B2 class champions. So I just want to say congratulations on that. Um, how was the season this year? With COVID and everything going on, how was the season? You had probably had to change up quite a bit of things from practices and who you can have in groups and stuff like that. How did you go about you know learning to live with COVID as a coach?
Well, in the beginning, when we didn't know if we were going to have a season or not, we weren't, I mean, it was school to school, whether you could even have open gyms at first. So we did a lot of weight room stuff at first when we weren't allowed in the gym. So that was bizarre. I had to meet the girls. I couldn't really be a basketball coach at first. I just had to be kind of like a strength and training coach. We were in the weight room every day. The girls were great about it. They were ready to play, but they were willing to do whatever they could do to get better before we were allowed in the gym. But then we were allowed in the gym and everyone had to have their own ball. Everyone had to be spaced out. So we went right back to fundamentals and it wasn't terrible. I mean, any team gets better by going back to fundamentals, but it was, I think mentally it was tougher, especially older girls. I mean, the younger girls that need to work on those things and whatnot didn't mind it, but the older girls that wanted to get into the offenses, into their normal varsity practices, it was mentally challenging for them, but I think they grew a lot from it.
Definitely. I mean, of course, I feel like they did grow a lot, winning sectionals. So they definitely learned from that. And how was it playing beginning of your season without fans? I'm pretty sure that was at the beginning of the season, like you weren't
Yeah,
able to have fans. How was
yeah,
that?
like the first half, we had cardboard cutout fans. So
Hey, at least someone's watching, like whether it's cardboard or in real life, someone's watching. Yeah.
I know it. It was weird though. It felt like a bunch of different scrimmages, honestly. And as a first year varsity basketball coach, I don't want to say it was nice because I know that the players wanted their parents there. And with school pride and all of that, it would have been great to have fans. But it took a little bit of the pressure off of being a first year coach. And then halfway through the season when they were allowed to come, I felt like I was just like more ready for the parents to be there and we eased into it pretty well.
How was the transition? Like, how much did that help you to have with the COVID restrictions, loosening up a little bit and having fans for your sectional run? How was that? I mean, that must have been a help for you and your team, right?
Yeah, a lot of our girls are very family oriented and we have a lot of supportive parents, which is great. And you could tell the girls just kind of lit up. They would ask all the time, "Can we have fans yet? Can our parents come yet?" And as soon as I told them, "Yep, now two a player can come," they were just so happy. And that was really neat to see about how much they cared about their parents being there, their family being there, because obviously they're used to that. And it was great that those kids were so supported.
Yeah, and I mean that's to me. I When I was growing up, I played football, and having my parents come to my games, that was part of the student athlete experience. Was performing for your family and your friends and for the school itself. So it's really cool that they were able to have that opportunity. Um, Last question I want to wrap up here with: what would you tell your local girl? You grew up local in Casadega. What would you tell any local student that when they're looking at their college options? You know, go to a 4-year school or maybe do what you did, stay home. You got roof over your head, you got hot meals, stay home and play for local sports. And maybe that your parents can, it's a drivable distance for them to come. What would you tell those student athletes thinking about where they want to go?
Um, as I've had varsity girls this year, I did talk to a lot of them about the situation. And I think finances, a lot of kids don't understand the money aspect of college, along with, of course, you want to enjoy it. Of course, you want to go for the major that you want. But financially for me, JCC was like right on the money. I went for free. It was wonderful. Really only had to pay for books. Um, but I understand when kids like want to get out of town, but that there's still that opportunity after JCC for them to explore away from town. So I really think with like the average economic, socioeconomic families in this area, I think that JCC is just a great option for kids to get started, especially when they're not really sure, which I feel like the majority of kids don't really know completely what they want to do when they're 18 years old for the rest of their lives. Even if it's at JCC for a year and not even two, I think it's great. Especially that's one of the things at JCC that I benefited from. I had a couple great counselors that guided me through changing majors and showed me the different paths and told me it was okay to change and it's okay to explore for different semesters, different things you want to do. And I don't know, I just really appreciated my entire time at JCC. And like I said, I wish it would have been a 4 year school.
Well, I'm sure JCC appreciated your time here at the institution. Um, but Coach Saxton, I appreciate this time. Um, you are now going to be a recurring guest, so maybe we'll talk again before the basketball season starts. See how the team's looking and going on for that repeat, and hopefully go on for that state title, right?
Yeah, I wish we could have gone further this year.
But hey, keep the team intact. How many players are graduating this year for you?
Just two seniors, but pretty important seniors as well. So,
Well, next person up, right? Got to
yeah,
fill the holes. It's a team game for a reason. It's not just one or two people. It's a team game as long as you're a cohesive unit.
yep, they got to fill the shoes. So, we'll be working on that this summer.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Coach. I appreciate it. We'll be talking to you soon.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.